So we're out at Lynx Creek, as you can see, and it's under flood stage right now. It's raining pretty severely, and we're supposed to get another 3 inches of rain this evening, which is an enormous amount of rain. And I wanted to take a look at what the river does under flood. And the reason why I want to look at that is because right now it's carrying gold with it. So I'm looking at areas where the gold could accumulate, where for instance over there, you see a little eddy over there. That would be a good place for the gold to settle. A place that would not be good for the gold to settle would be in the middle of the creek as it's raging, because it won't have a chance to drop. But this is really interesting to look at, because this gives me a chance to see where the gold will end up. So like for instance here, probably wouldn't be the best place. So I'd have to look at a place where it widens a little bit. So it's pretty interesting to see though. And there's a lot of water moving in here. Typically this creek is only a few inches deep, but it's roaring right now. So here's a good example of a good little eddy back there where the gold could end up. And this also shows this giant rock, which you see in the middle of the creek, and you can see the low pressure zone behind it. Though this low pressure zone behind it is probably a little too vigorous for the gold to settle, but it's interesting to take a look at. So we'll continue. So this is a good example of the water slowing down a little bit. Right here, it would have a chance to settle. And oddly enough, if you see all the debris on the trees right there, that contains gold typically. That works kind of like miner's moss. So the gold will come in and it will settle in those trees. And I usually take those clumps of grass out and pan them. And I've actually had really good success doing that. So let's continue a little bit here and see what it looks like. So now the creek is a little bit more mellow because it's a little wider. So I would say that this is a better zone to potentially dig than where we were before. So I would say here where you got a nice movement, but you have some good little still areas where the water isn't moving that quickly, that would be a really good spot right there. So back there, as you can see in the background, it's probably still a little too vigorous. So here's a really good place where the water settles down. The gold from here has a chance to kind of settle into the soil around it, or the gravel. And this is really interesting to see. There's a big, we're in the parking area of the Bainey mine area, and this is a place that's been hit pretty hard. I've found a little bit of gold myself, but it seems like a lot of people go to this place and try to find their riches. So let's walk down the creek a little bit and see if we can see anything interesting down here. So here's the main road, the Bainey Mine Road, as you guys can see. And they built up a little concrete barrier that makes like a little waterfall here. And that's actually kind of interesting. You can see the swirl, the counterclockwise swirl here. That allows the gold to be able to settle back over in this area. So I might want to hit that once the water settles down a little bit. So you can see as it narrows out back there, its velocity increases. So, but we're supposed to get a lot of rain tonight, so I expect the creek to be another 2 or 3 feet higher tomorrow morning. So it's going to be raging at that point. So here's one last shot at Lynx as it's moving very rapidly. Pretty interesting. You can really see it accelerate right there. So it'll be interesting to see after tonight when the water really gets moving. But as it is right now, it's definitely carrying gold with it throughout here and settling all over the creek, ready for us to prospect.